Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tool Shop. My name's Avery Roth, and tonight I am going to be showing you a little bit of my previous clips, and then continuing on tonight with my 2x72 belt grinder build. This is going to be the second one that I've made. This one I've actually bought plans for from Brian House at Houseworks. Make sure to go check his channel out. I'll link a description down below. And I really liked his design. A few things I wanted to change on it, but I liked the overall design. Bought the plans, have been in contact with him about a few things, and yeah, so let's show you where I started with all this. So now that you're all caught up as to what this pile of stuff is, let's show you what the new pile of stuff is. This is 1/2-inch plate. I got it laser cut at the place that I work, just because I wanted something thicker for the platen, no flex. And this is the second set of things. This is the 3/8, all this stuff is, here's 3/8 plating. This is the motor mount for, and in his design there is, his entire belt grinder actually hinges, so it becomes a vertical or horizontal, and that is what those 4 pieces are for. As you can see, this one has a nice channel in it to rotate 90 degrees and vertical, as well as the tool rest. These guys had the little 45-degree hinges on them, making all that stuff at a 3/8 plate here. So let's start setting this stuff up to weld and see what we can get made. It's legitimately probably been like solid 2 or 3 weeks since I've actually gotten out into the shop to do welding. So excited to go back at it for a bit. Tonight, only had threaded hole all the way through, as well as the top one with the fulcrum bolt. This one was just kind of a mess. So there's that, and then I also got this 2x2 drill and tap for the set screw so it can actually pivot properly, as well as I got these radiuses ground into the corners to allow the whole machine to pivot, especially because there's going to be a flat going up against here, so when you're trying to have something pivot, you need the clearance on the corners cut away. I'm gonna take the TIG welder and just TIG tack the corners. Once I TIG tack this one in, I'll put the bolt through, do the same thing on the back side, just make sure everything's straight and square. We'll have to see how much we get done. And I now have these parallel. I checked them, just ruler, checked them both. So up and down, I used the rod up here to actually pull them in. Both of these columns on this plate are actually tipped over a little bit, so exaggerated on that. So I'm going to come in and weld these sides first, just to see if I can get a little bit of pullback, or something like that. So let's get to welding this. So the setup I'm using to actually weld in all these hinges up against the 2 receiver tubes for the tooling arm, motor, and everything like that is I have all the hinges bolted together. I have some bandsaw blades. Just use those as little shims. I think they're like 30 thou blades. And I used 2 of them just to make sure that the actual hinge was even. And it'll all be bolted down from the front anyways. So 30 thou I'm hoping should be plenty. I just measured about 1/2 inch from there. All of these guys are all butted up against this 1/2 inch by 3 plate I have that I just held against the receivers in the middle and pushed those up against. And then I'm just going to go ahead, tack weld in a few places, check everything, and then come back in and lay the final down. So let's get to it. The grinder is cooling down after all the welding I've done to it. I just went ahead and made this off camera. It mounts to this piece here, the main part, the platen, the two wheels, the work area. Just had some slots in it that I'm actually just about to set up and drill these holes for 1/4 threads. Then that way I can thread this directly onto the plate. And then I'll be coming in and drilling and tapping a piece of tool steel to go on the face of this as well. That will be 2 by 11 inches long. Yeah, so I'm going to set up the drill bit to drill this out, and let's get set up on this. That was not particularly enjoyable. So what happened is, in the time lapse, at the very end of it, I was trying to thread in this hole. It was a brand new tap. Brand new, supposed to be a really good tap, and second hole it snapped on. And it was the entire length of the flute, so all 1/2 inch of this tap was embedded in here, and it just I took it to the TIG welder, cranked up the heat, took the air compressor, melting it, and then using the air compressor, and as I still had the arc going, I blasted compressed air into it to try and push it through the bottom of the hole, and it worked. I cleared a lot more material than I needed to, but that was to make sure that there was no, whatever the tap was, I didn't want that material embedded in the mild steel. So there was a big divots on both sides, and welded it all back up and took the grinders and just cleaned it so it was roughly flat. Now we're caught up as to now. I have this guy right here, my original 1/4 tap that I'm just going to start trying to thread in. Okay, so attempt number 2 of trying to thread that hole went the exact same as the first time. Snapped right off. I'm going to take it into my work, see if I can just throw it in the mill or something and try and drill that out and then re-thread it on that. In the meantime, I'm going to call this end of part 1. I filmed a lot of the work for this. A lot of stuff I tend to do off camera and just kind of film parts of it to put into a video, but this, I think I've really captured most of the work. But in terms of today, I've got to say I'm definitely very happy with this. I went from tacking all this stuff, or coming in only having it tacked, the legs, to now having it like being able to rotate to the horizontal position, go up to the vertical, everything's welded, new one of these guys is made, and yeah, I gotta see about ordering the wheels or making them. I'm not sure, I haven't decided on that yet either, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, make sure to let me know down in the comments, give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. As well, if you haven't checked out Brian House's channel, he is the gentleman that actually designed this guy, and I bought the plans for it. I've talked to him a few times just for asking for clarification. He's great for that as well, so big shout out to him, and yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one, folks.